There's really only one way to actually become the man that you wish to be and that you pretty much admire. There's only really one way to do this, and that is you have to first visualize it in your head as a clear picture on what that person, or in this case, what that man looks like, what he acts like, how he talks, how he speaks, how he walks, how he acts, everything about him to the T. You need to visualize it and have a clear picture in your head vividly that you can reference as to how exactly you should be acting and how you should be behaving yourself in order to be that man or that person that you wish to be and that you admire. I know personally me, when I was a teenager, I had the worst confidence. I've told you guys about this in the past. When I was a teenager, like 13, 14, 15, even 16 still, I was your typical insecure teenager. So I had, you know, the nerdy glasses, acne all over my face. I've talked about this before. My teeth were messed up. I had braces. Like, picture what you would consider like your cliche, your typical nerd. That was me. That's pretty much how I look like. And then fast forward a couple years, now you look at me and you wouldn't even recognize that I'm the same person because I don't look anything how I used to look a couple years ago. But it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen like in a week, in the course of a month. It didn't happen like that. I wasn't gonna be able to change like some of these things overnight or in a month. Maybe like if I got a haircut, maybe that might have helped. Maybe like if I went out and bought some new clothes or some new shoes or something like that, maybe that might have helped. But like realistically, like my skin, like I used to use glasses, which I'm supposed to use, but they don't really work for me. So I just don't wear them unless I'm like wearing sunglasses, then that's a different case. But like even the way I dress, even the way I talk, it's very different compared to how I used to be when I was a teenager, how I'm telling you guys. I swear, I'm not lying. I used to be very insecure, have really bad self-confidence, low self-esteem. At a point, I think I was socially awkward, or maybe possibly even a little bit like self-depression. I was never diagnosed with any of this because I never went to like a therapist or anything, but me personally, I just didn't feel good about myself. I didn't like the way that I looked when I looked in the mirror. I didn't like the person that I was seeing on the other side. And I would always see, like when I would be at school or friends of mine or just like girls in general, like you see on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat, you know what I'm talking about. Like they always talking about, oh, you know, the hot guy, or they fantasize about this guy or that guy from this movie, this TV show, this singer. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you know, these type of guys that the girls be fantasizing. Like you might hear that girls be fantasizing about like the guys from Vampire Diaries, like the guy Damon or Stefan. Girls be fantasizing about those guys. I grew up watching Victorious, the TV show, so I would like listen to like my cousins or like girls that I was friends with at the time. They talk about like one of the characters whose name was like Beck, that they would be like, man, he's just so good looking, like, oh my God, he just does it for me. They would be saying these type of stuff. And now that I'm a little bit older, girls would fantasize about like Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey, Channing Tatum from Magic Mike, the guy from the movie 365 Days. Like they would fantasize about these guys and I'd be like, what the fuck do I gotta do in order to be that guy? Cause I'm telling you, I used to be your typical nerd. I was never exposed to having that level of attention from the opposite gender. I was never exposed to that. I was never in that situation where I was that guy when growing up. I wasn't. But I knew deep down that I wasn't gonna be able to get like that type of attention, that type of glamour, that type of recognition from the opposite gender, or even just people in general, if I didn't change anything about myself. So I started visualizing in my head, okay, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become? How do I need to act? How do I need to look in order for me to look like those guys? Like, what do I have to do? Like I told you, I had really bad acne, so let's try to fix the acne. I would try everything under the sun. I got to a point where I had to go get pills prescribed to me to be able to help with my acne. It was extremely bad. I hated taking pictures. I've spoken about this before, which is part of the reason why I never wanted to take pictures. I didn't want anybody taking pictures, videos of me, never. Picture day, I would intentionally miss picture day sometimes because I didn't really want anybody taking pictures of me because of how my face looked. I was really skinny. I'm not saying I'm like the super buffest or like the most most swollest person in the world, no. But I was extremely skinny, and to the point where like a lot of the clothes that I would wear, they would look kind of big on me. So I really didn't have the best fashion sense growing up either. My teeth were messed up, so that meant I had braces for a good part of my teenage years, which was also the reason why like I had low self-esteem, low confidence, because you know I had braces. Some people look good with braces, I'm not even gonna lie. Some people, even with the braces, they still be looking good. But me personally, I didn't like how I looked, and for that reason I never really wanted to smile either. Even after like they took the braces off, I still low-key had like a little bit like of insecurity, because I used to remember how bad my teeth were, how crooked they were, how fucked up they were. For that same reason, I don't have any pictures. I'm not making this shit up. I'm being dead serious. I wish I had maybe like a picture or two that I would have saved, but because I didn't like my self-image, I would make sure I deleted all of these pictures of me. Like when I was growing up, I made sure I deleted them off of my phone, my parents' phone. It's kind of messed up, I get it. Now that I look back, I'm like, damn, I see the transformation, or I wish I still had those pictures so I could see and I could show you guys the transformation from how I went back then and how I looked like as a teenager and in my early teens to how I look like now, and the complete 180 that I took in becoming the person that I look like right now. So I didn't really have anybody to teach me on. Like the things that I teach you guys, the things that I talk about, the things that, you know, pretty much I speak about, I didn't have anybody to teach me any of this stuff. I didn't have an older brother because I'm the oldest out of my other two siblings. I didn't really have like a role model to tell me, okay, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. I didn't have anybody like that. I didn't really have anybody showing me like what to do or how to do things. I didn't have anybody. What I did have was the internet. That's the only thing I had. I had fucking YouTube and the internet. And from there, I just made it a goal to at least try to improve one little thing about myself, even if it was just the most minute thing. My self-esteem was extremely low. So when I started looking on YouTube, that's when I started seeing videos on, okay, how to dress, how to put certain outfits together, what to wear in certain scenarios or certain situations, how to start talking to girls, or you know, how to be more flirty, more charismatic. Like I started going down this rabbit hole where I wanted to learn. I didn't have anybody to tell me the things that I tell you guys. Some people might have been like, oh, well, you couldn't have asked your parents. Bro, they were just gonna end up telling me the same cliche things that probably most parents tell their kids anyways. Like, that shit doesn't work. Maybe back in their time, but not like trying to be disrespectful or anything, but this is 2025. Like, a lot of things that might have worked in the past don't necessarily work now. Especially now with how fast and how quick things change. That might not have been the best idea. But I wanted to become basically the hot guy that all the girls fantasize. That was my goal. I said to myself when I was a teenager, one day, I don't know when that day may be, but one day I'm gonna make it my goal and I'm gonna make it my mission to where I'm gonna be that hot guy that all of these girls fantasize about. The guy that all of these girls be dreaming about, I'm gonna be that guy. I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get there or what I'm gonna have to do. Somehow, some way, I'm gonna get there. And I think at this point in time, I think I'm almost there. If not, I'm already there. Now, granted, is there still room for improvement? Yeah, most definitely. I really don't think that there's like a limit to how attractive you can get, because you can always do small, minute changes to make yourself more attractive. Maybe it might not be super noticeable, but it can definitely help enhance your look. But at least from my perspective, from where I started to where I am now, being the typical cliche nerd to how I look like right now, I think and I truly believe that I have, if not already, reached that point where I'm kind of like the hot guy. Because this past weekend, I had a friend of mine who invited me out to brunch with her and one of her friends. I don't usually like encourage guys to have a whole bunch of female friends. I usually try to encourage guys to stay around guys, just so you can keep that competitive edge between you and your other guy friends. But at least in my situation alone, the only like part of the reason why I like having like female friends is most of the guys, at least where I'm at in my university, I don't get along with them very well. Not because I'm like not very easy to get along, that's not the reason. It's just that most of them either like to smoke, like to drink, like to party, or like to do dumb shit and waste time. I don't like doing any of those things. So I personally like don't align myself with most guys here at my university, which is part of the reason why most of my friends or most of the people that I talk to are girls. At least with the girls, when it comes to like certain things, not like entirely everything, but at least with the girls, I'm able to get along with them better. I'm able to like prioritize more of like the self-care, because when it comes to like the skin and like your looks, because we all know girls, or at least most girls, try to take care of their looks. So at least in that department, you know, I kind of align myself with that. And also like whenever you have like attractive female friends, those attractive female friends that you have tend to have other attractive female friends as well. I've spoken about this before. Pretty girls hang around other pretty girls. So if you want to get close and you pretty much want to beat every other guy for the same girl, a tactic you can use is actually to be cool with some of the pretty girls that hang out with the ones that you want to date. Might not work for everybody, and I don't usually encourage this, but that is a tactic that you could use. And what I realized while I was at this brunch with my friend and one of her friends was that I realized after hanging out with them for a couple of hours was that they made it very clear to me that just based off how I look, just based off like kind of how I act, I've pretty much reached that level of where I'm like the hot guy, or the neighborhood hot guy, the boy next door, whatever it is, whatever term you want to call it. I've pretty much reached that level, because even though I had only met this other girl one time, I've never really like spoken to her or had a conversation, let alone like hung out with them for like a couple hours. They made it clear to me that like, one, I look like a fuckboy. My looks in itself, the way I look, the way I act, the way I like present myself, my whole presentation screams fuckboy, player, playboy, and a man whore according to them. Crazy as fuck. I know, trust me. Even I was like, God damn. Like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. They were telling me, now don't get me wrong, like once I got to meet you and like we started talking a little bit, like we started having a conversation, I'm like, okay, this dude is, you know, he's cool. He's really chill. He's a cool guy to be around. He's not like on no weird shit or nothing. Like he's fucking funny. He's cool. I can like actually have a conversation without you like trying to hit on me or trying to sleep with me. But before they got to know me, before they got to like interact with me like that, they were telling me and making it aware to me that I screamed fuckboy, player, playboy, man whore, all of the characteristics of what you would consider or what the girls be like saying about some guys when they look a certain way. Pretty much I was that definition. And low-key for like a second, I was kind of offended because I was like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, are you serious? But I later realized, and I had to kind of think about it for a second, I used to say to myself, one day I'm gonna be that guy that like all the girls fantasize about, that the girls want to sleep with, they want to date, they want to be around. You know, the hot guys from the movies or the TV shows. I want to be that guy. And once they told me this, it made me realize that I had already pretty much gotten to that level and I just didn't know it. Or at least in my perspective, I hadn't realized it yet, but everybody else did. Now they were also telling me, okay, like what's your body count? Like how many girls are you sleeping with? Like I can tell you get hoes just because of how you look or how clean your room is. I'm looking at them like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like this is just me. Like this is normal to me. This is like my standard. Like I'm not dirty. And these girls are telling me, well, it's not because you're dirty or nothing. Like I'm not trying to say that, but it's just that every other guy that we've ever talked to, or like whoever tries to talk to us, they're not like you. They're not prioritizing your looks, like how they smell, how they look, like how their rooms are designed. Like they're always messy, they're dirty, they're pretty much the complete opposite of you. And I was really starstruck because I thought I was the one who was falling behind. Because I don't know if you guys see this a lot, but at least I do. You always usually see the ugly dudes or the ugly looking guys with the finest looking girls. I swear, I don't know how the fuck I always see it, but every time like I'm at a grocery store, I'm at a mall, I'm at a party, or rarely whenever I go to a club, something like this, at a function or whatever, I always see that it's always usually the ugly guys with the finest looking girls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we always see this and we start questioning ourselves like, how the fuck did he end up with her? Because we end up looking at ourselves like, what the fuck am I doing wrong if I'm prioritizing all of this to be the hot guy or the guy that the girls fantasize about, but we got the ugly motherfucker getting and pulling the baddest bitches? You're not wrong. It happens a lot, but it's not for the reasons that you think, or it's not the reasons that we think. They notice that we look and we act a certain way, but the difference is when it comes to this is that they know that we look good, the ones who prioritize the things like that I tell you guys to do. They know we look good. They know, or at least they perceive in their minds and in their heads, you get hoes, you get pussy anytime you want, you just slinging dick left and right, you're nothing but a man whore, a fuckboy, and a player, and you're used to getting your own way. Some of these things may be true. You might have all of these things going on for yourself. I do too. I'm just saying. But that's not the point. The point is, even though we see the ugly guys with the baddest looking girls, with the finest looking girls, trust and believe that these girls that we want to date recognize this about us. The only thing is, they don't want to compete with other girls to be with us. I'm telling you, me and these two girls were having this exact conversation, and girls do not want to compete for a man. They don't want to compete to date a guy. We as guys have to compete in order to be able to date the girl that we want to date. We have to beat other guys, but girls don't want to compete when it comes to trying to date us. They're okay with settling for the ugly guy or the medium ugly guy, which is the reason why we see those guys with the finest looking girls. But when you've worked on yourself enough, when you've gone through the process, you've gone through hell and back to look the way that you do, act the way that you act, talk the way that you talk, do everything that defines who you are, best believe that everybody around you notices, but they just don't say it because they automatically believe that you get your own way, you're a player, you're a fuckboy, you're used to getting hoes, you have hoes, you get pussy anytime you want, and you just slinging dick left and motherfucking right. Best believe they think all of these things about us. Even if that may not be true for you right now, that's okay. But you have reached a level that most men simply are not aware of, simply will never reach because they don't try to do anything about who they are. They don't try to fix anything when it comes to their presentation and the way that they put themselves out there into the world. They don't work on any of these things. But you can leverage all of these things to have the lifestyle, to have the life that you want to have. If you want to be sleeping with girls every night or every week, you can do that. If you want to be nothing but a player, you can do that. If you just want to have one girlfriend, you want to have a wife and be loyal to one single girl, you can do that. You can do whatever it is that you want to do personally in your own life. But understand that by you being the hot guy, the guy that all the girls dream about, the guy that all the girls fantasize about, you have now put yourself in a whole different bracket where other men cannot compete with you physically, financially, or in what other category you may choose. You have simply put yourself in a position where you have your pick of the litter. You can choose to do, to be, and to act in any way, shape, or form that you may so choose to do so, and rightfully so. You have the liberty of doing what it is that you want to do, when you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with. And nobody can tell you anything because they didn't see the journey from where you started to where you are now. They didn't see the transformation and what it took to be able to be at that level where you are right now, where you get to be classified as a fuckboy, as a player, as a man whore, just like I get categorized as, or I get told a lot. But that's okay. This is something that comes with the territory. I wanted to be the hot guy. I wanted to be the guy that all the girls fantasize about, and I think I've reached it. So now I just have to be able to deal with and pretty much leverage all of these thoughts and perceptions by other people to my advantage to be able to get whatever I want out of them. Not manipulating, just leading them to be able to do whatever it is that I want to do for my best interest. So knowing all of this, don't stop doing what you're doing. You're gonna reach that level. If you keep doing exactly what you've been doing and the things that you know are correct, regardless of what somebody else might tell you or what somebody else might judge you as, it's okay. You're gonna get a lot of these comments, a lot of these opinions coming your way, but it comes with the territory. Just embrace it, just laugh it off, and don't let it affect you. If you stuck around to the end, I really appreciate you. Don't stop watching now. Make sure you go watch my most recent upload. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. And see you boys in the next one. Peace.